Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy. Today we're taking a look at War for Cybertron Siege Megatron, or, as in the case with this Frankenstein, War for Cybertron Netflix Trilogy Limited Edition Walmart exclusive pack. So this is kind of a mishmash of two. I've got the War for Cybertron Siege, as stated here in this guide. And then I've also got the weaponizers from the War for Cybertron trilogy release, which is essentially the exact same mold, just with these two guys and special red and white packaging. Yay for hooray for packaging. So there you go. I'm spoiling you guys. As you can see, he's got all his weapons on him here. I'll take a look to see if I can even grab him with so much weaponry on him. He's got that sword with the effects there is the captive Lionizer in sword form. He's got his giant plasma cannon. He's got Pinpoint with some blast effects as well in his hand. And then his massive laser lightsaber sword thingamajigger that's also the turret for his tank. So welcome back to the Back and Forth channel. Thank you so much for returning. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for sure. Let's take off these weapons so that we can get right into the transformation. We're going to take a look at these weapons first, of course. So let go of my ego. Megatron. This is actually a really nice Megatron. It's been redecoed a bunch of times. I think the Siege designation for this one is WFC S12. And it was released in 2019. And then the Netflix Trilogy Limited Edition pack was released in 2020. So they decided they needed some more of our money not even a year later and re-released it with the weaponizer. So this is what it looks. Got a backpack on for school. And that's what he looks like in just the robot form. We're going to put him aside on stacks duty just for a second while we take a look at these weapons. So first let's take a look at this awesome scoped out sword, and that scope is there because this will again be his turret extension when he's in battle tank mode. Really cool. Of all the weapons I've ever seen, this is by far one of the best for sure, and it doubles as another weapon as well, so that looks really cool. Put that off to the side, and then we'll take a look at Pinpoint. So here's Pinpoint, and you can see he's a classic double-barreled foot gun. So there's that, and we can get rid of the effects, toss those over to the side, and then transform him while we're at it. Let's do that. So you're just gonna, this is really simple. You're just gonna untab these legs, bring these double barrel parts down, untab his hands that are clipped into his hips, and then swing the whole thing down, and that's it. Pretty much. You can untab these legs too. They're clipped together with a little peg right there. I like to keep them together. He tends to want to stand better in such a fashion, but that's what he looks like. Little Pinpoint, like the red and black. We'll give him some obligatory stacks on stacks. Don't make a liar out of me now, man. Stacks on stacks duty. And then, excuse me, and then the Lionizer, captive Lionizer. So to do this transformation, we're going to take off his swinging blade effects, and he's got that so that if you try to pet him, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, I'll make that joke in a second. So you just want to unclip these feet from those little pegs there that he's got, and that'll allow you to bring all his legs into the proper orientation. You can swing these all down, and then you're going to flip this head up. There's his lion head, and then you can leave the tail like that, but it's meant to be like this, so that if you're one of those people that just can't help but petting a cat that isn't yours, and you try to pet him, you'll go, ooh, because it's so very sharp. So that looks okay. I really do think it looks better like this, as a big long blade tail, personally, but that's just personal opinion, and you do you how you want to do yours. So we'll put him there on stacks duty as well. So that's the two weaponizers. Let's get into the transformation of Megatron. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do it. So the first thing you want to do after you've got these arms nice and straight, which they already are, is you're going to fold these fists in like that. So both fists in like so. You're also going to want to bring these little parts up. Mine are really loose. One likes to stay in its position. The other doesn't. The other doesn't. So, I don't know. We'll leave it there for now. But you do want to do that next. Then you're going to bring this backpack up and kind of out of the way for now. And that's just so that you can get some clearance with these arms to fold them in. Now, before I fold the arms in, I'm just going to get spinning the legs out of the way now. So I'm going to spin the whole bottom torso. We'll leave that there for now. And bring these arms back down to their straight position so that you can snap them over like this. And there's that piece is going to want to flip over again, but that's fine. And then it tabs into the turret right there. Squeeze it together, and hooray for turret. So that's the turret pretty much done. Now you can come to the back of the legs. Nope, come to the front of the legs, come to the back of the legs, come to the back of the legs. And we're going to open these parts of the legs. And this part's a bit tricky. So you want to bring the legs out so you can swing this part of the leg down with the black part. It pivots right there with, at the second portion of the gray thigh. And you do that so that you can fold the whole thing in like this. You twist the whole thing in and drop it in like that. So it should look like that. Swing it out a little bit for clearance of that peg that's there. Clip that back in and then tab it in. That's it. That's one side done. Second side, easy ride. So let's take a closer look at that so that you get it this time for She's Louise. Open up this leg flap. These two parts crimp down into the leg. So we're going to move this out first. Fold it at 90. And now this whole thing swings into the leg. So just like that. Hopefully you can see that, and that's the finished product. Move the leg out to put the flap back down, move it back up, and clip it into its tab. Let's straighten that out just a bit. Then we're going to unclip these, move them to 90 degrees, and that's so that you can get some clearance for this flap. This flap is going to fold and then tab into those holes right there on the side. Just like that on both sides. Now, this whole portion here is gonna sandwich up into there. So we're just gonna grab it and with some loving force, slam it into place just like that. And that should be that. So, we're gonna want a little bit of clearance, and that's so that we can spin this turret around. Then we're gonna bring it back to its resting place. And then lastly, fold these heel spurs up into the feet, and that's so that they can now be just kind of tilted down into that position. And that is it. That is the whole tank. He is ready to go. And in this tank form, he does have kind of a stubby little barrel. But, as I alluded to earlier, that's where this comes in. You're going to untab the sword, swing these parts back down like so, tab them back in, make sure it's somewhat straightened out like that. And that's so you can come over here. I like to lift this turret up just a bit, and that's for clearance to get this part into this area. So you have to kind of pop it in here, see it caught on there, and separate it again. That's no big deal. Put it in, crimp it back down, drop the turret, and there you go. Now he has the extended barrel for those hard to reach opponents. Looks fantastic, I think. And that's, here again is where that sight's going to come into play, because tanks need a sight on their barrel. Everyone knows that. And so that's what he looks like. Let's take a look at him in all his tank glory. Take a look at the back there. Shaboom! And that is what he's going to look like there. I'll move that back so that we can definitely see it all. Looks great. I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks great. I mean, for a tank, I've never liked Megatrons that don't make a Walter P38 or some sort of gun. But if this is what you have to settle for, I'm pretty happy with it. So this is the back and forth channel. Everything has to go back and forth. Stick around for that size comparison as we do in every video. So we're going to start by removing this, rebuilding it into the form it's going to need to be in for his robot mode. Put that off to the side. And what else? We're also going to need one of these. So, okay. Just like we did before, we're going to lift these feet up. That was our last part last time, I believe. And straighten those feet out. And bring this turret down. We're going to move this part forward so we've got clearance to flip this turret section around. Just like that. We're going to come back to the head section where he's hiding under there. And we're going to untab this, unfold this, move it back in front of it. Then we're going to come down to the legs for now. We're going to untab them because they're clipped into the side of his hips, just like this. We do that so we can get clearance. Also, because you can't open these flaps without doing so. Once you've got that flap open, you can bring it back up, and you're going to swing the whole thing in the opposite direction that we did to get it here. So there you go. I'm going to bring this to the 90 degrees, bring that flap down, make sure it's all nice and straight. And that's essentially one leg done. We can just leave that there. Let's do the same thing. Second side, easy ride. So let's untab it, just like we did the other side. Untab it. Thank you, Megatron. Flip this open. We're going to flip the whole leg section around, just like that, to get it into the longer position out of this recess here. Snap it over to the 90 degrees. Close this flap and bring the whole thing back down. Now at this point, we're going to do the arms. We're just going to get those out of the way for now. So untab his turret, or his cannon, just to kind of move those out of the way. Lift that top piece so that you can indeed fold those arms forward, clip them into place, bring these little shoulder pads down, and now we're going to spin this lower section that we have some clearance. Okay, so that should be facing forward in the right direction. Now we're going to bring this section back a little bit so we can fold these tank treads into the middle. And then you want to bring this whole piece will snap into place like so. And then the backpack doesn't sit here, it actually sits a little, usually comes here, sits a little further down like that. So it should look like that when we're done. So straighten that torso out some, make sure those heels are out. And then lastly, hands up, baby, hands up. Megatron rules, baby, baby, Megatron rules. Does he ever? And there is Megs with his obligatory stacks on stacks on stacks duty. And then we can also put his little minions right beside him. They're too busy with the stacks on stacks. And, of course, why don't we put this weapon, we've got to put this weapon in, so you guys can see what it looks like. And there you go. Weapons in. And what would this video be without the promised size comparison? I've got kind of a neat one today. I'll be dating myself, but how many people are even going to know what this is? Bam! This is a Panasonic metal. This is from Japan. Shockwave cassette player. Does anybody out there know what a cassette player is? Is there anybody left in the world who knows what this is? I think it opens from here. I want to say. Did I lock it? Open. There we go. Look at the inner workings of where beats used to happen. And this is one of the coolest releases of a Walkman because it took only one battery, unlike the two that almost every other one did. The thing is completely metal pretty much. It's got a lock. Everything was digital. It even had a battery check button so you could see how much juice you had left in the battery. That was super rare at the time. Japan, so far ahead of your time. So that is today's size comparison. That's how he stacks up against a metal Walkman. Dope. Wicked. So we'll put that off to the side. And folks, that is about it. That's back and forth on the back and forth channel. Slide that thumb down if you're still here. And give me a like on the video, please. It helps enormously. I would really appreciate the support. Subscribe to the channel. If you don't sub the channel, you cannot crush the notification bell. If you don't crush the notification bell, you won't be the first to find out when the next video drops, so do it. Comment downstairs if you think you know which the Transformer is next that I'm going to be doing. If you can figure that out or guess, whatever, the person who gets it right will have a present sent out to them, compliments of the back and forth channel. Folks, if you have not been told recently, love ya, Secret Guy out.